It's amazing. He says things like individuals are trying to blockade our economy. Individuals are trying to shut down our economy. They're trying to shut down our way of life. Dude, that's you. By a mirror, Justin Trudeau, explaining that he's shutting down freedom to protect your freedom. There's a lot of burning the village in order to save the village rhetoric that's come out of the COVID restrictionists. Has to stop. Well, I mean, the same thing could be said of the mandates that you have placed on your country over the course of the last couple of years. I'm sorry, he's so irritating. And by the way, I'm not the only one who finds him irritating. The Canadian public finds him extraordinarily irritating. In fact, Trudeau's own party is starting to turn on him over COVID restrictions. According to Politico, a backbench lawmaker from Justin Trudeau's own caucus is accusing the Prime Minister of dividing and stigmatizing Canadians by politicizing vaccine mandates and COVID-19 restrictions. As the Omicron virus shows itself to be less lethal and positive test rates fall, the truckers are sending a message to Democratic governments it's time for the pandemic emergency orders to end. The cause of this protest happens to be righteous. For 2 years, says the Wall Street Journal, the truckers were classified as essential workers and therefore exempt from vaccine mandates. About 85% of them are vaccinated. But Justin Trudeau, who heads a minority government, has chosen this moment to order that truckers be vaccinated if they want to cross back into the country from the United States. The Canadian left is calling all of these people Trumpians. Trudeau smeared them as, quote, a few people shouting and waving swastikas. But of course, that's not what this is at all. And it just is part of the general left-wing attempt to paint anyone who disagrees with them as a racist or a Nazi. They have this bag of insults that they go to every time somebody disagrees with them, God forbid. And then they just throw them. Here comes the swastika. Boom. Just hit them with the swastika. Just say that they're a Nazi. And what is the evidence that the thousands and thousands of people in Ottawa protesting so they can maintain their jobs, that those people are Nazis? He doesn't have any evidence. Instead, what the media have been doing in Canada and elsewhere is they've been nutpicking, is what it's called. They find a few fringe members of the protests, and then they say, these people represent the entire protest. It's a global thing. This is not just in Canada. It turns out that human beings do not like having their liberties restricted in this way in the West. They're used to it in China, because China is an authoritarian tyranny. They may be used to it in Russia. They may be used to it in actual tyrannical states, but they're really not used to it in the West, and they don't like it. Majority favors lifting restrictions, suggesting the Trudeau mandate, which went into effect on January 15th, was a political miscalculation. By energizing a significant part of the electorate, until now less present in public discourse, he set off a backlash, deepened Canadian polarization, and raised the stakes in a showdown with the truckers. The global left is beginning to feel it, because they've spent the last 2 years insisting they're on the side of the science, and they're not on the side of the science. It turns out that the best thing that they could have done would have been to shield the vulnerable, as they did in Sweden, and then to allow people to live their lives. Instead, they decided to restrict everyone. And again, the pitch is that freedom itself is bad. We have to crack down on people using the word freedom. See, if you say freedom, what they hear is Nazi. This is how perverse the wild left, the COVID restrictionist left has become. Here is Justin Trudeau explaining that he's shutting down freedom to protect your freedom. There's a lot of burning the village in order to save the village rhetoric that's come out of the COVID restrictionists.
Individuals are trying to blockade our economy, our democracy, and our fellow citizens' daily lives. It has to stop.
It has to stop. Well, I mean, the same thing could be said of the mandates that you have placed on your country over the course of the last couple of years.